Hi and welcome. My name is Tolan and I'm the co-founder of Productivity Me. In this video, we're going to look at the Excel's menu system. We're going to discuss the individual items like the quick access toolbar, the Excel ribbon, the idea of where your active worksheet is, where your differentiated tabs are, and things like the formula bar and the status bar. We'll then cover each of these individual items in greater detail in later sections of this course, but we wanted to give you a brief overview of this individual items today. So with that, let's get started. If you want to follow along using the same spreadsheet that we have, go ahead and in the link of the description for this course, you can find a link to download this exact spreadsheet. All right, so what is the file menu within Microsoft Excel and how is it structured? Well, Microsoft Excel fits into what is called the Microsoft Office Suite. The Office Suite is a series of programs and applications that include Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Outlook, and Microsoft Access. So Excel is the spreadsheet version of the Office Suite, and it's going to offer you functionality so that you can essentially collect, organize, analyze, and manipulate information, and then present that information in the way that you think it would be most useful. So the 5 or 6 major components of Microsoft Excel are first up here, you'll have what is often referred to as the quick access toolbar. We'll discuss this a little bit more in detail in another lesson, but it allows you to customize which commands or which actions you have here. So say that if I wanted to save this individual document, I could come up here to my quick access toolbar, I could click this little icon here, and this little icon would save my document. The second component that you might see on your screen is what is called the Excel ribbon. Now, the Excel ribbon has a slightly different appearance in Excel 2010 and 2013 than it did in Excel 2007. And the way it's constructed now is you'll have what's called the File menu, and then you'll have these other individual tabs. So you'll have the Home tab, the Insert tab, the Page Layout tab, the Formula tab, so on and so forth. And you can actually change the order of these tabs and which tabs show up, but each tab is then, if you click on these individual tabs, these tabs essentially allow you to find specific actions or specific functions. So say that I wanted to sort my data here. If I wanted to organize my data or maybe filter my data, I could come here to the filter and click that on the data tab. Now, if you go to one of these individual tabs, let's say the Home tab, where you'll probably spend most of your time, the tabs of Home, Insert, Page Layout, and Formulas are then organized in what's called groups. So underneath the Home tab, you'll have these individual groups, things like the Clipboard group, the Font group, the Alignment group, and the Numbers group. And these have related functions. So for example, if you wanted to take the clipboard, you could cut some text. So maybe we'll cut some text here, and then we'll paste that text, and maybe we'll go ahead and we take the formatting, and we want to paste the formatting there. So these functions in each individual group are related to one another in a way that Microsoft, the corporation that made Microsoft Excel, thinks they'd be useful. So the same is true with the font group. So if you wanted to say make your font bold, you would click bold. That changes the font style. If you want to change the font color, that would also be related to the font group. So you could also change the size of that font. So there's individual items that are grouped together on each specific tab. So say that you wanted to insert an illustration, you might insert a picture, as we'll discuss later in the course. You might insert a shape, like maybe an arrow, or other individual things. If you go to the Data tab, you'd have the ability to do certain analysis, like sort things in ascending order or descending order. In a later video, we'll look at some of the most common functions, things like the sum function or the average function or if statements. So anyway, you have the idea of the quick access toolbar, and then you have the Excel ribbon, which is this Home, Insert, Page Layout, formulas, different tabs. And then we have on each tab, we have groups like clipboard, font, alignment, and so on. Then we have this individual item here, which is called the formula bar. And if you click into a cell, so if we were to click on the cell, the formula bar is either where we'll insert a specific value. So let's say, as we'll show later in the video, if you were to put the value here 1, when you click on the individual item here, you'd see the specific value, but it's called the formula bar because if we were to insert a formula, you'd say equals 1 plus 1. When you press enter, the default setting for Microsoft Excel is to show the value of whatever formula it is. So this here seems as though the value is 2, but when we click on that individual cell, it shows the formula that we achieved by adding 1 plus 1. So we'll discuss this in a later video, but this is called the formula bar right here, this FX thing. Then we have the active spreadsheet, and there are different views for the spreadsheet. We'll discuss this in a later video, but you have kind of what's called the normal view, where what we're using now. You have what's called the page layout view, which will give you the option of things called headers and footers. You'll get to see page breaks. And then there is the page break view, which is specific, and it will show you all of your data. And if you had large amounts of data, such as several columns, you would get to see where your data would break and on what pages they would print. So again, quick access toolbar, we have the ribbon. Each individual tab on the ribbon has groups. Then we have our formula bar, we have our active sheet, and then down here we have what's called the different worksheets of a Microsoft Excel file. And these are essentially tabs, basically like pages in your book, your Microsoft Workbook or your Microsoft Excel file. So we'll discuss these in greater detail throughout the course. And then the last item that we'd want to look at is what's called the status bar. And we'll also discuss the status bar in a greater detail in a video in a few minutes. But the status bar will tell you things like whether or not you're able to move on individual files or whether you're in edit mode. This, as you would see here, when you're in an individual cell, it will show things like whether or not you have caps lock on. So we currently have caps lock turned on and off. Then we have these different views, which we've looked at, and we'll have things like the ability to zoom out or zoom in to our spreadsheet. So in summary, there are 5 or 6 individual pieces that we'll discuss in greater detail. These 5 or 6 individual pieces that make up Microsoft Excel's interface are the things like the quick access toolbar here, which is basically just keyboard shortcuts or customized commands. We have the Excel ribbon, which consists of the file menu, the home tab, insert tab, page layout tab, and these other individual groups or items. Then we have what's called the groups of those tabs. So the clipboard group, the font group, the alignment group, or on the insert tab, we have things like tables, illustrations, apps, charts, so on and so forth. Then after that, we looked at the idea of the formula bar, which is shown here. We looked at the idea of your active worksheet, which is here. We had discussed the idea of the individual worksheets, or the different Excel tabs that you can put data into. And then lastly, the status bar. So that was a lot of information to cover. In the next few videos, we'll go over these elements, like the quick access toolbar, like the Excel ribbon, like the status bar, like the formula bar, in greater detail. If you have questions, comments, ideas, you can go ahead and post them in the discussion section of this video. We would love to hear what you think. We would love to try to help you learn Microsoft Excel. We would love to improve the method that we create these videos and make them as useful to you as possible. So go ahead and post your comments. Go ahead and tell us what you think by giving us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. You can also go ahead and subscribe to our channel, where every week we'll post additional tips, tricks, and tutorials within the space of Microsoft Excel. And all right, thanks for your time. We'll see you in the next video. In the next video, we're going to discuss the idea of using the quick access toolbar within Microsoft Excel. So if that's interesting to you, go on to the next video and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.